Well, hello there. Nice to see your beautiful face. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back as the case may be. And today we must answer a question. And that question is thus: how on earth are we going to do this? How are we gonna talk about Poor Things, my zesty honey babies? Do I simply tell you that this is my favorite film of 2023, implore you to watch it, and send you on your merry way, popcorn in hand and a song in your heart? I'm tempted because I'm lazy, and also because there's so much to talk about here that even beginning to do so makes the writer in me feel like the Atlas of legend and myth. See that world there? That's Poor Things. And that's me! Look how well sculpted I am. Oh, but we can't just do that, can we? It would be a cop-out, and neither my old university professors or myself would feel much pride in such an analysis. So without further ado, let us talk for a while on the lovely absurdity that is Poor Things. Although, before we do, let me preface. If you like weird movies that are really well done, I implore you to just watch it, because I think it's a masterpiece. It's something very special and unique, and my stupid analysis will be here when you get back. On the flip side, I also must give the warning that this is not a film for everybody. It's diabolically obscene, very dark, giddily grotesque, and unrepentantly sexual. It's like a candy-coated fantasy land full of biological nightmares. Okay, I feel like we're prepped. Do you feel buttered up? You feel nice and lubed? Let's slide into this thing. So what we have here is essentially a modern retelling of Frankenstein that plays somewhere between David Lynch and Wes Anderson by way of Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse with a generous twist of Lars von Trier. And you know what? Throw a little Frankenhooker in there just for good measure. If you're not a cinematic hyper nerd and are wondering what the hell that means, let's just say it's very, very weird, beautifully stylized, poignant, and horny as a goddamn rabbit hopped up on bumps of bunny uppers and a raging dose of Viagra. The tale begins with the great Willem Dafoe, who makes my heart sing. He's just so lovable as a deformed Victor Frankenstein analog who teaches biology, specifically vivisection. Yum yum. He recruits one of his students, played by Ramy Youssef, to assist in an experiment, which leads us to Willem's home and, more importantly, the experimental creatures contained within. You got like a rooster with a dog's head, I think? I can't remember. There's a bunch of hybrid animals, but the strangest animal by far is Emma Stone. Her character's name is Bella Baxter, and she's a full-grown, beautiful lady, about my age actually, but with the mind of a child. I'll leave the reason for this alone for you to discover. Suffice to say, the cause is experimental in nature. She's kept indoors for a period of time, but as her mind advances and the indoor world stifles her, she inevitably goes out into the land beyond to experience its ups, downs, screams, laughs, and also tons of sex. Tons and tons and tons of sex. So, you know, even if you're not so keen on wacko cinema, you can see plenty of Emma Stone's nipples if that's your bag, and also Mark Ruffalo's butt as he thrusts if that's more your scene. A little something for everybody. So why do I love this movie? And by the way, I do love this movie. Well, the answers to that are manifold. First of all, even though the individual elements of the story are bonkers, they play out in a way that resembles classic myth. If you strip away the artifice, this is essentially a coming-of-age tale, with a naive character embarking on a journey into reality, far from the safety of her birthplace. It's as much Siddhartha as it is Frankenstein, with some definite biblical stuff as well. And it may sound strange to some when I characterize a Frankenstein lady's sexual comedy voyage across an alternate reality fantasy version of Europe as archetypally human, but it is archetypally human. The central themes are personal discovery and emotional growth through interaction with an increasingly complicated world. But what truly sets it apart and makes it unique, even more so than the framing device, by which I mean Frankenstein lady, fantasy world, etc., is that it entangles the baffling grotesqueries of humanity into the beauty of being alive in a way that feels really personal to me, actually. Poor Things knows that humanity can be beautiful and sublime through understanding and empathy. It also knows that we can equal this in the negative space of cruelty. But what brings it all home is that at the end of the day, we're all human and we all need to eat, and sometimes we burp and vomit, and there's only so much majesty you can ascribe to something that farts, even if it has a golden spirit. Now, this is my extrapolation. The movie doesn't state any of this, but I'd like you to pay close attention to the moments of wisdom and grace in this film, and notice how they're comically deflated, and then tell me I'm wrong. The point is, this is one of those rare films that explores the deep core of what it means to be human in a way I relate to far more than a standard drama. Because for me, being alive is not a mundanity. It's surreal, depressing, hilarious, and horrifying, kind of all at once, in a way that eventually becomes numbing if you're not careful. There's this wonderful scene where Bella describes her well of empathy running dry, and it's one of the most relatable scenes of recent memory. But above all, the film recognizes the weirdness of life. The fact that everything is just so surreal and weird. It's baked into the film's tone. Being alive is fucking weird, man, and if you don't think so, I pity you, and highly recommend a little molecule called LSD. And a lot like LSD, there's only so much you can convey about this film by talking about it. You just have to experience it. Take that Poor Things drug, baby, it's wild. But wait, darling, don't click off, don't leave me. Come back into the arms of my not at all dulcet tones, because we're not done yet. We haven't even talked about the filmmaking. This is a Yorgos Lanthimos film, and it is him becoming the director I think we all knew he could be. It is the promise fulfilled, and it is delightful to watch from a craft perspective. From the stylized backdrops that make the scenes into living paintings, to the inventive camera work and extreme lenses, to its metaphorical use of monochrome and color. It's an absolute Mad Hatter of a film. The entire thing feels like magical realism, like you found it by popping your head through the looking glass, Alice in Wonderland style. If I wanted to be here all day, we could talk about framing and extrapolate the use of really fun, strange score. But all you really need to know is that every single element comes together to create one of the most unique experiences in movie history, as far as I'm concerned. And I love that it could not have come from anyone other than Yorgos. I love this about film, or art in general, I guess, when the spirit of its creator is inextricable from the piece in question. Like, for context, picture a typical Oscar drama. I love A Beautiful Mind, for instance, with Russell Crowe, but many directors could have brought that movie to life besides Ron Howard, as it follows the biopic movie blueprint without much unexpected artistic deviation. Poor Things is like the antithesis, and the true reason I liken it to the works of people like David Lynch, Wes Anderson, and Lars von Trier is because it is unique to its creator. If I can play creative writing teacher for a moment, today's lesson would be this. Everyone should strive to make something this uniquely personal. Don't try to be other people. Just try to be the most authentic you, and what you make will resonate. You know, assuming you're not like a psychopath or something, but you know what I mean. And Jesus, we haven't even talked about the actors. Do we need to? Everyone is great, flawless even. It's genuinely some of the best work from Willem Dafoe. Mark Ruffalo was hilarious, and it's by far the best I've seen from Emma Stone. We could honestly devote a whole video to her performance alone. And yeah, I think I've exhausted my reservoir of praise. I loved it, it's a Jammo movie through and through, and I have no complaints. To round us out though, even though I did my best, I don't feel like I did justice to just how peculiar and resonant this movie is. We only scratched the surface here. But at the same time, I know deep down in my bones that so many people will watch it and not get it at all. Or just shrug and say, well, that was certainly weird. I guess what I mean is, I'm not sure how great the crossover will be between lovers of weirdo auteur cinema and general audiences. If you have any anecdotes or thoughts about this, or just have something to say about what this movie meant to you, don't be shy to hop into the comments. And that's Poor Things. It would make a hilarious double feature with Frankenhooker. It ranks among the all-time greats of gonzo cinema. And with any luck, I'll be rewatching it many times before my inevitable passing into the great weirdness beyond mortality. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, maybe hit like and then subscribe to join me on my stupid cinematic adventures. But in any case, peace, love, and kinky sex, and I'll see you in the next one.